In a big city lived two young people, Sarah and Michael, who once felt passionately in love with each other. At the beginning, their love was a radiant sunshine that illuminated their hearts. They trusted each other unconditionally and seemed to be made for each other. Sarah and Michael shared their dreams, hopes, and fears with each other. They planned a future together in which they wanted to walk hand in hand through life. But with time, Michael began to change, and the brilliance of their love faded. Initially, it was only subtle changes. Michael grew more distant, and his love seemed to cool. Sarah tried to understand his worries and fears, but he remained closed off. The warm glances that once filled his eyes were replaced by a cold emptiness. The change in Michael was gradual but palpable. He started manipulating Sarah, undermining her self-esteem, and emotionally abusing her. She felt trapped in a relationship that was turning into a nightmare. One day, when Sarah was at home, Michael suddenly embraced her with a terrifying intensity. His embrace turned into a painful grip, and he began to hurt her. Sarah, shocked and frightened, tried to break free, but Michael wouldn't let go. When she finally broke free, she found herself trembling and covered in bruises on the floor. Michael stood over her, smiling coldly. He confessed that he had devised a method to get rid of her to pursue his own dark plans. Sarah was trapped in a nightmare. The man she had once loved had turned into a psycho who tormented and threatened her. She knew she had to take action to save her life. In the following days, Sarah cautiously began to plan how to escape from Michael's clutches. She looked for ways to organize her escape without arousing suspicion. She couldn't make any mistakes, as she knew Michael was unpredictable. One evening, when Michael believed Sarah was asleep, she quietly left the house. She had taken only the essentials and was determined never to return. Her heart pounded with fear, but she knew it was her only chance of survival. The next few weeks were spent in constant fear and hiding. She knew Michael was looking for her, and she had to be careful not to be discovered. Every movement, every breath was accompanied by dread. While Sarah hid, she began to uncover the dark secrets about Michael. She learned about his plans on how to kill her and how he had associated with dangerous people to carry out his intentions. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. She wasn't just on the run from an abusive man, she was also running from a dangerous network he had woven. Eventually, after weeks of being pursued and hiding, a fateful encounter between Sarah and Michael occurred. He had tracked her down and chased her into a remote forest. When he caught up with her, hell broke loose. Sarah, who had endured years of abuse, could no longer allow him to torment her. With the strength of desperation, she fought back. It was a fierce battle in the darkness of the forest. Sarah and Michael grappled with each other, and blood was spilled. But Sarah had a determination stronger than her fear. Finally, as the first rays of the morning sun illuminated the forest, Sarah had the upper hand. She stood over Michael, who lay on the ground gasping for breath. The determination in her eyes turned to horror, and she knew she had no other choice. With trembling hands and a heart full of pain, Sarah ended what she had never thought possible. Michael would never pursue her again, never threaten her again. As she left the scene of the terrible event, she felt both relieved and traumatized. Her heart was broken, her soul scarred, but she was free. Sarah knew she would never be the same again, but she had reclaimed her life. Her courageous battle against the man she had once loved had been an act of self-defense and necessity. In this lonely battle, she had regained her freedom and defeated the darkness that had threatened her life.